I want to talk to you about a message that one of my followers sent to me. So, this woman, she posted a picture and a guy commented on her picture. He said something along the lines of, I know that you're a man, maybe trying to insinuate that she was a trans woman. And so she replied saying, "Oh no, I've been a woman my whole life." And she's actually like a supporter of the trans community. However, she is a cis woman, and she was offended by this comment. So the guy said, something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, right. Everybody can see that you're a woman. You're not passing," or something like that, right? It was a long message, and she asked to be anonymous, and I can totally understand why. So I'm reading this, and then a few things are going through my mind that I want to talk about. First of all, I visited her page, and she's commented on some of my posts before. Very nice woman. And she just looks like a pretty woman, you know, and she doesn't look like she has masculine features or anything like that. So, what is happening here? This is a troll. So, when I first started making content, which wasn't very long ago, I was surprised about, I was surprised when I read some of the negative comments. And after spending some time trying to understand what this is, I realized that, okay, this is what a troll is. So, a troll is a person who is trying to get an emotional reaction from somebody. They don't necessarily believe in what they're saying. A troll might attack a trans woman and then attack a Christian or a conservative. So they come off as like if somebody was attacking me, saying things about like, that I'm a man or that I'm going to hell or something like that, I would be tempted to think that there's some sort of Christian fundamentalist or maybe a conservative, something like that, right? But sometimes, sorry, I had to cough. Sometimes I will visit their profile, and something like a giveaway would be somebody who doesn't have a profile picture or they have a strange profile picture. Like somebody who's claiming to be a trans woman, but they have a man's profile picture. Or like if somebody's profile is very new or they haven't posted very often, things like that, right? So I'm pretty good at sniffing out a troll. But for my followers, especially the women or really anybody, if somebody is attacking you in the comments or they seem to be posting irrational things that seem like they're just trying to hurt your feelings, they probably are just trying to hurt your feelings. This woman, she's a beautiful woman. And I can't see how anybody could look at her and say, oh, that's a man, or even a trans woman. Now, the next part of what was going through my mind when I was reading this is so this feeling, this troll, these feelings that were caused for this woman, they really hurt her. She started questioning, oh, this is why I'm single, or maybe this is why I'm having such a hard time dating. And so I am a trans woman. I am bisexual or pansexual. I'm not sure. Sometimes I'm attracted to masculine men. Sometimes I'm attracted to feminine women. And sometimes I'm attracted to trans women, whether or not they have masculine or feminine features. And one of the things that I find very attractive is when somebody has like per se predominantly masculine features, but they have a touch of feminine mix in, or if they're very feminine, but they have this. It's almost like the opposite of uncanny valley. Uncanny valley is when you can't put your finger on what's wrong. Well, what I'm describing is you can't put your finger on what is right. And honey, I'm making a video. That was my son. He came in here and I asked him to just like give me a minute so I could finish my video, and instead he argued with me. But he's 9, so it happens. I'm gonna cut that part out. So because sometimes if you watch my content, you can see my kids pop up. I don't think it's appropriate to include them in my content, obviously. So that's why I try to keep them out for the most part. But if you're a big fan, then you probably know what my kids look like. They do exist. Okay. What I was saying is that trans women or trans men are beautiful if they pass or if they don't pass. And it kind of hurt my feelings. And I know this person did not mean that. But so I know a lot of trans people struggle with passing. And I'm very fortunate because I do pass. But I also can appreciate the look of being trans. So I think trans people are really beautiful. For example, my hands. I used to hate the way my hands looked. I was like, God, I have these freakish man hands. But now, like, when I look at my hands, I think they're beautiful. And it didn't start with my hands. It started when I started looking at trans women, like famous trans women's hands. And one day I just started like appreciating it. And I realized that if you're a trans person or if you're a cis person that has, you know, features that are opposite your sex or gender, it's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I think that's why, trans women are so popular is because they have, you know, some trans women have strikingly feminine features and a very strong feminine vibe to them. But then they have just like that little touch of masculinity mixed in. I think there's something really beautiful in that. And, anyways, I just wanted to warn you what trolls are. So don't let these people hurt your feelings. If, just pay no attention to what they say because it's bullshit, And even if they're not trolls, if they're just cruel or irrationally hateful, those people have mental illness. It's not the trans people. If you talk to a biologist or a doctor, they will let you know that trans people do not have mental illness, right? Gender dysphoria is not a mental illness. It's a state of being that arises from an incongruence between a person's biological sex and their gender identity. And it's always existed, ever since, like, humans existed. But, okay, so my name is Jessica. I love you. And I need you to follow or subscribe. Somehow first I was put in the Hell World algorithm, and then I got out of that algorithm. But now I'm in like the algorithm that doesn't get very much reach. Unless I'm being shadow banned. I don't know why anybody would shadow ban me though, but possibly. Anyways, my dog is whining. I had to let him out. And I do love you. Bye.